What's going on, everybody? This your boy, Black Boy J, aka Justin Hudson, coming at you with another episode of Retro Pioneers Podcast. I got my co-host right here, Byron P. Jackson.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming back.
And we also, man, we got a special guest today coming on this episode 12, man. Craftsman Tim. You know, he's a anime content creator, but also a DBZ enthusiast, man. And he just an all-around good guy, and we want everybody to meet Tim.
How you doing, man? Craftsman Tim. I'm happy to be here, man. I know y'all say you have special guests all the time, so I'll take that with a little bit of a grain of salt put on there, but I know I'm special. That's all.
So, man, tell us a little bit about your content creation journey.
Yeah, so as of right now, I'm doing anime and stuff, but I started off kind of tilting more in like the politics, I guess, but that was more on like Facebook, and then I came over to Threads, and then after the election, I was like, man, my mind just, I can't. I'm about to snap. I'm about to
right
snap.
there with you, Ross.
So I just did, a pivot over to anime, and I've been trying to stay away from the political talk. It's hard not to sometimes to kind of fall into it because you know how the algorithm is, man. It baits you in. But yeah, so right now, and I'm just getting into doing reactions and talking just about anime period right now. Mostly text form right now. I'm getting used to editing and figuring out how to balance the microphone and audio while I'm recording.
Nice. That's interesting, man. That's one of the things, especially in the time we're living in now. It's like, how do you balance being real and doing like, your anime content, but at the same time, it's acknowledging the wild political climate that we're in this particular country. It's like, as adults, it's tough because you can't throw it away, but you don't also want to talk about it all the time. And so it's like, it's an interesting dichotomy trying to balance that. Have you had success with taking a little break away from it? Are you going to try to maybe do two different channels?
Yeah, I got a second channel where I was going to do more like, I guess, what my philosophy of life is, like more philosophical, because that's really what I'm big into is, politics, philosophy. But as far as making that like what I want to be known for, I don't think I'll do it just because mentally I don't want to go there. And then my son, I feel like it would be selfish because my son wants to do his thing, and they ain't gonna come after him. People be talking reckless, and if they do that, it's just gonna go 0 to 100 real quick, right? And as far as doing the anime like game community, it's more, you get some outliers, but it's pretty much friendly all the way around. Like I don't run into people where it's like, yeah, Dragon Ball is my favorite. You're a dickhead. Like, So with politics, you could say the grass is green and they'll just call you every name in the book, man. I don't got time for it.
Yeah, it's true. Very true.
I mean, that's kind of the reason why I try to not include politics as much as far as when you having like interviews. Don't get me wrong, you could have a different video or like a different live stream on politics.
Mhm.
That's way you won't be steering away from what the topic is really about. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it is important to understand what's going on in the world that we in right now. Like with this whole TikTok ban situation, how it's banned for a couple hours and now it's back. So it's like, that type of stuff right there, man. I don't know.
Well, no, it's like you said. I mean, sometimes the community or society with TikTok kind of forces us to bring up and talk about these issues. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes, like, for example, sometimes in the cosplay side of the anime community, I know that sometimes it could be a little tough towards Black women. Sometimes that blows up. We got to talk about that kind of stuff. It's like same thing with gaming. Sometimes the gaming community is starting to get wild with some of these takes.
Man,
the anti-woke crowd is super loud right now. And it's like
way too loud.
Yeah,
Way
just
too
shut
loud.
up, all of you. Like, and so sometimes we have to talk about that stuff, but it's that managing the time and learning how to do it. So it's just the right amount to address it, but not become it every single day, you know?
Yeah, that's, balancing when to talk about it is like you said, like when it's a topic and it makes sense to put it in there, then go on ahead, especially when it comes to current events. We're so connected to everything. It's impossible for not to talk about current events, especially like us three talking right now. If something happened, one of us would just bring it up in
Yeah.
in the spirit of a
Breaking news.
conversation, right? Yeah. So I think one way I kind of balance it sometimes is when I'm talking about a series that has those aspects in it. Like that's kind of like my hit of the drug right there. Instead of talking about it all the time, it's like, well, I like the way that these characters or this system is based like this, that, and the third, where I can take my knowledge and put it into something productive versus pushing my hairline further and further back.
That's right.
Good way to
That's
put
true.
it.
All right, the YouTube stream is looking like it's looking up. It's looking good and up.
Okay,
I don't
okay,
see
okay.
the Twitch one going.
Should be on there. Cause we got one person on there right now. But
Okay, let me refresh
Tim,
my.
let us know what's your process when it come down to your content creation. Like what steps you take before you post that video or do your live streams or whatever the case may be.
I'll be honest with you, man. There ain't really too much thought that goes into it sometimes, man. I might sit down, depending on what it is, I might sit back and like, okay, I kind of want this. I want to try and make this a little bit more engaging. So I might try and put a little bit more into it as far as, like, okay, is this going to be like an emotional pull? Like, not necessarily like make people cry, but make people want to engage. But for the most part, I might just be watching something and now, okay, I'm going to Google it. I'm going to put it here and I'm going to say maybe what I like about it or put a hot take or something like that on there. A lot of it's just kind of in the moment or a current conversation that's been going on for maybe like a week or so. Now, that's probably the longest, is if like I'm sitting there in my head like for a week, like let me just get this off, because now I know what I want to say and I'm not going to look like a jackass.
How often are you? So are you sitting to a specific schedule with your content, or are you finding your own grind? Or
Yeah, right now I'm still trying to find my bearings for it, for real. Like this is really the beginning of me actually getting into actual content creation. Like my name Craftsman Tim actually comes from my work. I'm a contractor. I'm a painter by trade. So that's where
nice.
Craftsman Tim comes from. So I've done some stuff there where I'm just telling people, answering, facts of painting and stuff, like what people want to know, what I think people should know and stuff like that. So taking that to come into this is kind of a little bit the same thing, but I'm still trying to find my bearings of how I want to do it. It sucks because I was just going to get into a rhythm and then I got the flu. So now I got to find that rhythm starting now. Now, this is like the first day I'm actually good, where I'm not sneezing and my bones are aching and stuff. But I am trying to find a schedule. I don't know if I want to do like 3 times a week every day or whatever.
Okay, okay. So talk to us a little bit more about your other ventures as far as like game talk or if you does anything with gaming.
So me and Ginyu, we did a podcast probably like a week ago. That was really good. We had a pretty decent reel that came off of that, talking about the villains from the Dragon Ball movies. And that one did pretty good. I try to stream every now and then, but I also do a lot of stuff with Destiny Brushes. I'm on his stream his live every Wednesday. And then on Sundays, like today, I'll go on there because it's just a free day.
Yeah. Nice.
As a matter of fact, he's here right now.
Yeah, he's in here now.
I just saw him I help him with the IKEA.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's actually where it started at, man. He needed some help building some IKEA, and he put me on his live, and I helped him, and we just built from there.
That's
Nice.
awesome, man.
That's
That's
a
awesome.
true IRL stream right there. Building something. Like, I need some help. Let me call somebody. Stream.
Yeah.
But
Oh, go ahead.
no,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, are you still doing the craftsman work, or is that something that was just old Tim?
No, that's still my main source of income. I've been doing that for 8 years now. That's really what my main thing is. If I get away from it, I'm not going to complain about getting away from hard labor. I'll tell you that much. But right now I'm in school for business, probably switching over to marketing this semester. But yeah, no, I still do painting and stuff. I actually enjoy it. It's just, like I said, if I can get away from my hands cramping up, I get away from that instantly.
Oh, yeah.
But okay, let me ask you this then. How do you balance being an entrepreneur for one, right? And then doing your content creation? Like, do you feel you have to have a stable schedule to be able to do both?
That's the golden question right there. I think it would help, especially with someone like me, because I got to stay on, because I wake up 3 o'clock in the morning on weekdays, go to the gym at 5, and I have to have it. I have to have this set out for my own routine to make sure my day. If I'm not home from the gym by 6:30, I feel like I'm rushing the whole day. My day just doesn't go good. As far as because I'm single. I don't live with my son or anything like that, so I can just come out from work, eat, sit down, and I really have almost 12 hours, right? Like, because I get off at 2, 3 o'clock. So that gives me enough time to really do what I want. The real balance might be with school and stuff, trying to get homework and stuff, because I'm full time. So, trying to get at all the homework and stay busy. That's really those 3 things. And then if I have my son, those 4 things, it's really where the balance is going to come into play. But the things worth it don't come easy like that.
No, not at all. I mean, it sounds like you got a good handle on it. I mean, that's a rolling schedule, man. Getting up at 3, gym, then back from gym, then right to work, then from home. I mean, you're getting it done.
I try to, man. It's something I picked up during the pandemic, just to keep my own mental.
But at the same time, man, that's kind of reason why you want to do Napa. Hey, man, you got the strength for Napa, bro. So yeah, you gonna make it happen, man. Hey, it ain't nothing but time and opportunity, bro.
Yeah, that's all we got right now, man. That's why, with TikTok coming back, I was sitting there and I was like, everybody, oh man, I was just going to get started into content creation. And then I was like, well, shoot, it just came back. This is the perfect opportunity right here. You might as well treat it like you have that second win right now to go do it. Like they telling you, do it, like.
But let me
Is it
ask y'all,
fully back, or isn't there like a
that's
conditional
the
period?
thing, though. I don't
Because they're waiting
at
for
the end of
someone
the
on the
day,
U.S. side to buy it.
it's active as
It's
of
a
right now.
90-day thing, isn't it? They got a
Yeah,
90-day extension.
So that's the whole ordeal about the whole situation, bro. Would you even feel comfortable posting and trying to get your
Yeah.
stuff up on TikTok, knowing that this, like, they holding this over your head, like, okay,
But
well,
because that's 90 days to funnel to other platforms, though, because everybody that's on TikTok is on
that's true.
Instagram and YouTube. So you could still funnel these people. Yeah, you might have 20, let's say 20,000 on TikTok and only 7.5 on Instagram. That's still, I only got 250 right now on Instagram. If I get to 7.5 and then Instagram and then TikTok disappears, shit, that's still 7,000 more than what I had before, right? So you can still use that. 90 days is a long time, man. Think about starting a new job. That probation period is is a long ass time, man.
Until your benefits kick in, go to the
Yeah.
dentist.
Trying not to get hurt.
I know, right? That's a good point, because, I mean, especially now that people, like you said, Jay, people are going to be weary of coming back. But the people that do come back, you realize, okay, this is my opportunity to say, hey guys, we don't know if this is sticking around. Come over to Blue Sky or wherever, and this is where you'll find me anytime that this is whatever's going on with this TikTok thing. So I'm going to post on TikTok too, but if you want to keep me going forever, go over to this platform. So that 90 days for especially the smarter creators, yeah, they'll really start to funnel people to YouTube and people who know that. Because I don't know if TikTok's going to stay. I mean, it could, it might not. It just
I don't
trying to
see it
find this
going
U.S.
anywhere.
investor.
I just see it as a, not to get political with it, I just
Control.
see it a way, yeah, it's all just a ruse. It's all just a way to, to pat somebody on the back and, stand around in a circle and, do what these guys do.
It's true. That's it. That's 100% it. It's cronyism, crony capitalism.
Yeah, that's all it is. They don't care. It's not about no information, man. I get phone calls from Russia every day, man. They not worried about this.
Oh, well, half the stuff that we're wearing, these fabrics, were either coming from China, Taiwan, anywhere, Indonesia. It's like
Yeah,
the amount of
it's not
business
going
just
anywhere.
in general that flows through outside of TikTok is like, come on.
Yeah, there's other things to worry about. They'll bring it. They don't want people going over the red note. That's really what they're going to want to stop. And it's not even called Red Note. It's called Red Book because it's called Red Book because Mao walked around with a book.
Yeah, people don't know their history, man. It's funny. I was just telling Destiny Brushes yesterday. I was like, why would y'all go to Red Note when I think that app is still actually in Mandarin?
They got
People
a
are like, I have to
translation
translate
thing.
it. I'm like, well, that's not going to last at all.
They got a translation button on the app because I made one this morning just to see what it was about. And like, there's an actual translate, like auto translate.
That's wild. I mean, still, but just the fact that it's another Chinese app, that'll be the second thing that once they turn their focus to this, they're going to be like, poof.
Yeah. That's the one they really would want to get rid of because that's an actual Chinese app. Like TikTok might be owned by ByteDance and that's Chinese, but it's not like what Red Note is.
Yeah, because the CEO of TikTok used to work at Facebook. He's a Singaporean guy.
Yeah. And like it's owned by like 60% non-Chinese, like private entities or something like that. So, but Red Note in itself is owned by the Chinese government.
Yep. I heard there's rumors of them talking about they want to start coming after Tencent also. You know, the gaming company that owns a bunch of stuff. They own stake in Warframe. They own stake in a whole bunch of stuff. Tencent.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's rumors.
I never even heard that name before.
Oh, you haven't heard Tencent? Tencent's a big Chinese company, gaming investor, publisher. They have stake in a lot of. They have money in Epic. They have money in Fortnite.
Mm.
Yeah, check them out. Look them up.
Of course, if it's tech company, they're going to try to go after them.
I think there might heard a rumor, so we'll see what happens.
So, Till, man, what I want to know is what got you started? What was the first thing you did as far as making a video or just having an idea? What got you into content creation?
Well, actually, making content per se isn't anything new. I used to rap back in, really, I started when I was like 12 and I went kind of big locally with it. My manager was the general manager of the Wu-Tang branch in my area. So I was kind of tied in with that, releasing music and stuff like that. As far as this, I couldn't even tell you honestly, man. I just kind of just was doing it, like just making a video here and there or making a post here and there. And it wasn't until just recently I took care of some internal stuff and I was like, okay, I feel comfortable actually putting myself out there now, letting some people around me know some certain things. And then was like, okay, I feel comfortable doing it now. And after that, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually start going. And then back to the beginning of the conversation when I made the pivot was when Threads really was when I met you and Threads and everything. When you hit me up was really when I very first started taking it more serious. Because me and my son, we did like some videos. I think probably the oldest video on his channel is probably like a year or something like that. So we
Okay.
were doing some stuff like that, like taste test or Fortnite gameplay and stuff like that. But that was more for him.
Nice. That's excuse me. That's so. What's your main format that you're trying to do for your content? Is it going to be reactions? Is it mostly just hot takes?
I would really say what you see now, honestly. I don't really want to try and pigeonhole myself to one type of thing, right? Which I know it's kind of hard to do nowadays. But that
Yeah.
was like one of the things I was telling Destiny at first was Dragon Ball. Like, I don't want to be stuck talking just strictly about Dragon Ball, because it's easy to get stuck into talking about just one thing or doing one type of thing. Reactions, I like doing them, but I don't see them being really my main thing. I'm more of a conversationalist. So stuff like this is really where I get my ideas more so across. I've tried to sit there and like record myself talking, and it's just like I sound like Porky Pig, like, yeah.
No, man, you sound good.
No, I'm
It's
talking
all
about like if
flowing.
I try to do it by
Oh, by
myself, right?
yourself.
Yeah. Like I would like to get more into like analysis and stuff like that, but I would have to sit down and take probably a little bit more time
Well, that
doing
just
that.
comes with good scripting. So once you write a good essay script for your analysis, you state your thesis for us, and then bam,
Yeah.
start going down on those backup paragraphs, building all your points and everything.
Yeah, the detail, saying the detail over and over again, just 5 different ways.
5 different points.
Yeah.
So let's just say let's just say a what if scenario, right, Tim? What if your son was to come up to you right now and be like, "Look, Dad, give me some pointers on how I can be a content creator and how I can have a longevity in this game." Like, what was your opinion? I mean, even though I know you haven't been in it as long as for you to have an opinion about it, but what would you say to your son about that?
Just who it is he wants to it be like, right? Like who influences him. Take a look at what they are doing, but be yourself while you do it, right? Because that, like you said, I can't tell anybody how to do something I'm not the most successful person at. But if he's sitting there and he's like, you know what, I really look up the I Show Speed and Mr. Beast, right? Okay, look at see what they do and then be yourself while you do it. I know he might emulate probably like Speed first and then start coming into himself, but who doesn't do that as a kid? But that's the only way you'll be able to you can make your own road, but you gotta follow a road first before you branch off. You gotta follow, especially in this day and age where everything's been done. There's not going to be another Soldier Boy I did it first moment, right? There's never going to be that ever again, as far as what I can see, right? The next thing probably going to be like some actual VR headset neurotransplant content creation, right? And if he can get on that first, then shit. I don't know about transplant, but if you can be the first, if you can be a trendsetter, but follow the trends that are influencing you first. That's really my main point I'm getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right about that. One thing I always thought was good advice. I don't have any kids. I always thought was good advice that I feel like I guess I might have heard it from The Rock, but it was like, if you can bring your friends with you. And that was always one thing that I had kind of wish was that, had gotten into more ventures with friends, obviously doing things like this. But so if young people, any young people listening here, get it, bring your friends into the clique and build a team. You know what I mean? Those things always make it more fun. You can, even
Yeah.
if it's just 2, 3 people.
just like RDC, man, and AMP and stuff like that. You just got nothing but a group of young people, man, having a collective mind of content, and they're bringing it together to branch out into uh you know multitudes of of what I'm trying to say, far as like you can get content, you can become famous just by being yourself and being one person. But by you having a team of people beside you doing the exact same thing that you're doing, you're going to get out there faster because of that. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like that is needed when it comes down to building content creation. You got to build that community, bro. And once you build that community, you will realize how strong of a connection you have with these same people who just like you, just different variants of you, if you want to put it. But it's
Yeah.
just an amazing thing, bro, just being able to see how many people you're touching with your content.
Yeah. That's why, I feel grateful just being a part of Destiny's community, right? Like he didn't have to reach out to me like I did, like, because I'm new to it all. I didn't know who he was or whatever. But then, when you get into the community, you start seeing everything, and you're like, he didn't have to have his hand out to me. So I'm not going to smack the hand away. But like you said, bring your friends. I got 2 other friends that been saying, let's do a podcast, all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. They brush me off, but it's like, I'm still going to keep on marching.
Yeah.
And I got my hand, but don't get out of reach of my hand. Don't start slipping on the fingers now, because
Exactly.
they might have chip oil on them, because I'm eating right now. So you might slip off. I'm like, I don't know too much about that, but yeah, trying to do something with friends, because it's easier to work off of other people, not in a taking advantage in a negative type of way, but taking advantage of having
Yeah, the
another.
collaboration.
Yeah, like it's like
Yeah.
ping pong. I throw the ball. If nobody's there to throw it back, I'm just throwing it into the void. But if someone else is there to,
Yeah, now we got a
like,
game. Now we can
yeah,
rally.
But with ping pong, you can also play ping pong by yourself. Just put the table closest to the wall.
that's
So
wall ball now.
well, it
But then
just
it's
but
just you
that
and the
what
wall.
brings but see that what brings me
That's a
to this
whole
point
nother
though.
metaphor.
You can include your friends into, like, everybody, regardless of anything. I don't care what nobody has to say. At the end of the day, you want people around you to shine with you, right? But
Yeah,
if the people if when you're in that beginning stage and people don't see your vision, right? They're gonna be like, maybe I don't want to do it right now, whatever the case may be. People tend to want to follow you when they see the success and the hard work that you already done put in. But at that time, it's like it's too late. Like, I tried to help, I tried to have you with me, but you only want to ride with me because you see I'm getting fame or I'm getting something from this. So now you just got a handout now. So how do you feel about friends who do stuff like that? Like, do you see that kind of like the little fakeness a little bit
nah,
in people?
not no more. I separated myself from all of that. Like, shoot, when I met my son's mom, probably like 7 years ago, that was really. But I was already separating it myself from a lot of that stuff, right? I dealt a lot of that stuff when I was doing music, right? There would be the people that be like, oh, you doing a little show, right? That little, you don't really take it too serious. I'm taking it serious. The people I got around me now that I'm talking about, like, I don't see it like them doing stuff like that. It's just I'm on a different grind set right now, right? Because I've got an idea in my head. So I'm like, we can do this, that, and the third. But either way, like, I'll tell them every day, every time I talk to them, get on Threads, man. Just start jumping into these conversations. There's a lot. I might not be live on Bro's page right now, but jump into the chat with us, because I'll be almost at every. I try to get on every live. Of course, you can't really do it all the time,
No, of course,
but
yeah.
I try to get into at least every. Like, I think I missed Byron's. I think I caught wind of 1 or 2 of them, but I try to get into the chat at least 30 minutes. And I try to tell them like, yo, just jump in there. You don't have to be like, look at me. Like just be there, right? That's all it is. Just be there. And that's
Support,
all,
man.
because that's where it all starts at. It's just like a normal job. All they want to tell you is, I just want somebody that's going to show up. That's all.
That's
Just show up, man. Just show up for yourself. That's all it is.
That's true. It's like the old joke, back in like middle school, high school, a lot of people who failed PE, I was like, all you had to do was dress. That's all you have to do is put your PE clothes on. They didn't care if you didn't run the mile. They just wanted you to have your PE clothes, but I'm not putting my PE clothes on.
Yeah, just put on that gray shirt.
Yeah, just put on the sweatpants and the thing, and shit, you're good. You'll get a C.
Yeah. You don't got to do 100 push-ups. Just,
I don't know how old everybody is in here, right? But like being in school and you had PE, right?
Yeah.
How some people be so rebellion. I'm not putting on no gym clothes. I'm gonna wear my jabos. I'm gonna wear my my trues and stuff like that. It just, it's nothing wrong with having a rebellious spirit, bro. But how you gonna fail PE?
all you had
That's
to do
like
was
one
be
time
there.
we had, when we didn't have recess anymore, PE became recess. So I was like, I'm all for it. I need to run around, get some energy out.
Yeah. That was the one thing. I won't active like I am now when I was a kid, but yeah, no, just go in there, throw on those shorts in the shirt, and then just,
Go
you got
pass.
you got to run the mile. I bet you I'm gonna walk this jump.
Right, exactly.
So
Yeah.
getting into the fun of things, right? I know we talked about this before we started the podcast, but what type of retro gamer was you growing up? What was your first system? What was your first game? Like, what got you started in gaming?
So I grew up with 3 older cousins, the oldest one being 7 years older. I was born in 91, so he was what, like 83, 84, something like that. And so by the time I was 1, 2 years old, he was already playing Sega, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and all the real retros from the 80s into the 90s. And so like I got memories playing old Bomberman, old Mortal Kombat, Zelda, what is it? A Link to the Past, that's the gold cartridge Zelda, isn't it?
Yeah.
All those type of games. And then it wasn't until I got the PlayStation 1 where I really started playing the games that I really like. Like, don't get me wrong, I've always played RPGs and stuff, but then I got into Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Brave Fencer Musashi, Legends of Dragoon, those type of games. So I'm playing those. I mean, of course, I'm playing Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, and stuff like that too. But those RPGs, JRPGs, is really the games that I enjoy the most.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII. I never got to play that game, but that game, it took over the zeitgeist for a long time, where people were talking about it. It was like everything for so long. I just remember people just talking constantly, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VII. It was everywhere. It's huge.
Yeah, it's still, and then they got the remakes coming out. I'm salty that the Final Fantasy Rebirth didn't get Game of the Year. I still think that was the biggest upset. They gave it to Astrobot. Astrobot was a good game, but it was not like Rebirth, man. Rebirth was, I'm telling you, it was great.
This was the second part of the remake, right?
Yeah.
Is there going to be a third part?
Yeah, most definitely.
Because it was, what, 4 discs or something back in the old day?
It was 3. Final Fantasy 8 was 4 discs, but 7 was 3 discs.
Holy cow.
And I think 9 was 3 discs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the layman myself, like, is each one of these remakes one of those discs, or is it kind of like some overlap in between what was covered on?
In a way, it is, but it's like, well, go ahead, Tim.
So the first one, the actual Final Fantasy remake, was just the first half of the first disc.
Okay.
But the second one, Rebirth, is the rest of the first disc, and I believe it's all of the second disc. I think it stops shy of ending of the second disc.
Gotcha. Okay.
but they're also remaking like it's an actual remake. It's not
Yeah. Not a
a
remaster.
remake, like it's not like they're remaking it with new graphics. It's a
Changing things.
continuation of the story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's an actual sequel of the story, and they're making small changes in there because they're trying to remake the timeline type of thing.
And
Gotcha.
see, by
Gotcha.
me being a PC player gamer, right? I wasn't able to enjoy Rebirth until now, as far as it coming out on PC on January the 28th, because I refused to get a console.
Oh, it
But
hasn't come out on PC yet?
no, it coming out on the 28th of this month.
Oh, damn,
Yeah,
you missing out, man.
yeah, I
You're not
know,
gonna
but
get a
I'm
PlayStation
going
6
to be
in a
able to
couple
play it.
years?
Oh hell no, man.
Look, man, this baby right here, man.
Yeah.
No, man. Don't get me wrong. I love the consoles, bro, but it's just what they're doing right now with consoles is just I can't be by with it no more. To the point where like we talked about many episodes ago, Byron, that you don't have full control over anything you do with your console, and you just pay $700 for this console.
No, yeah.
So it's like I can do whatever the hell I want with my PC. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But okay, cool beans, man. That you play Final Fantasy VII, and one thing that a lot of people don't talk about is Brave Fierce Musashi,
Oh, yeah.
and
Brave
that game
Fencer.
slept on, bro.
It was
Never heard of that game.
honestly, it was the best
Awesome
game
game, bro.
for I was about to say for Final Fantasy. It was the best PlayStation 1 game, and you cannot find it anymore. If you find it, it's one of those games where if you find it, you're spending at least 3 digits just to get it.
But the game
What's it
was
called?
so Brave Fierce Musashi.
Brave Fierce Musashi.
It was
Brave
on
Fencer
PlayStation 1.
Musashi.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the thing is, right? If a lot of people don't remember that when you bought the Final Fantasy VII disc, right? Well,
Mhm.
the actual disc set, it had a demo. Like it came with 4 games discs, but only 3 of them was the actual Final Fantasy VII game, and the last one was like a demo disc where you could play that game.
I think it was it was Spyro, and
Mm-hmm.
it was whatever was another big Square Sony game
I
at the
think it was
time.
it started with X. Genoverse or something.
Xenogears.
Xenogear.
I
Yeah,
forgot
yeah.
all about that game, man. That was a good game too. Yo, original PlayStation had some classics to it. Really did. And I'm mad like because my house got broken into and they stole the PlayStation, and in there was the Brave Fencer Musashi.
Mm,
And I haven't had that game since.
mm.
And so I haven't played. Look, this is how good it is, right? I haven't played that game since probably 99, right?
Mhm.
And my cousin pulled up, he's got like an emulator, like a Game Boy emulator thing that's got like 4,500 games on there, and he's got it
Oh,
on
wow.
there. And he pulled it up there. I was like, I bet you I can beat this game still like that. Because I played it nonstop as a kid.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
probably only 8, 9 years old the last time I played that game.
Now, don't get me wrong, it got its
That's awesome.
corniness to it. What game didn't on
Look,
PlayStation?
man, we not doing blasphemy this episode, man.
No, but that's the thing, bro. Because I'm a huge fan of the series, bro. I'm not gonna talk about the second one. Second one was
No, the second one doesn't exist to me.
exactly like evolution of Dragon Ball. But the simple fact that, man, everything that you can have in this PlayStation game, bro, was there. From the animation, from the video, like the video files that they had on the disc and everything. Everything was just top notch, bro. And I really feel like that game was ahead of its time, but it didn't get that much credibility that it should have got.
It's like it's
just
one of them
like
games. How your reaction was, Byron, where you're like, I ain't never even heard of it. I go to actual like video game places that like the like collector places and stuff, and I'll ask them for this game, and they act the same exact way. Sometimes, at one point in time, I thought I made the game up.
It's like a Mandela effect, the whole game, huh?
I
It's like,
swear
that
to
game
you,
even
I would be
exists?
talking to somebody, I bring it up, and they'd be like, "What type of
No.
what?"
but but going back to what you just said though, the game was so, I guess, less talked about to the point where I thought it was just only on the demo. I wasn't able to play the full actual game until I got a little older. You know what I'm saying? But by that time, PlayStation 1 was kind of like up there, and the only way you was able to play this game is emulation. So, that's when I was able to actually just finish the whole game. But back then it was kind of hard to obtain the game then because they didn't sell it everywhere. You had to go to your local mom and pop stores to actually get this game.
I
'Cause,
actually
like,
think I found it at a flea market. There was
yeah,
this big jumping flea market by my area with growing up, and I might be mistaken, but I feel like that's where I got it.
but whenever you get time, Byron, man, check it out, man. It's a great game.
Well, there's the PS1 era is the one era. That's when I told you how that's the era that I wasn't really doing much gaming because I was like late 90s and early 2000s. Those 4 years I was in high school. So I was playing basketball. When I did play PlayStation 1, I would go over to, our point guard's house and we were playing fighting games. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And because my only thing I had at my house at that time was Super NES. And then when I got to college, that's when, PS2 came out and then Xbox, and I found out I got an Xbox. So that I missed like the majority of the PS1 era. I didn't even know what
That
was
was
going
the
on in
golden
gaming
era.
discourse, really. That era, I kind of just like skipped over that and then caught back up in PS2, Xbox era.
You know what I'm going to do for you, Byron? Next time I'm able to come across a PlayStation Classic, I'm going to hack it for you and send it to you with all the best PS1 games, man. You just got to check it out, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say, really it got drowned out because of Final Fantasy. A lot like at that point in time, Final Fantasy was the game for PlayStation. Nowadays, I remember there was a point now it's Screaming Chris, so I think it got drowned out from there, but it's crazy. That's what that game is for then. But I remember there was a point in time you would bring up Final Fantasy and people would be like, I think I heard of that. It's like,
Wow.
what do you mean you think you heard of it?
I mean, 'cause a lot of people didn't really too much play Final Fantasy before Final Fantasy 7. Like you had to be a diehard Final Fantasy fan to play
Because a
any other
lot of
game
people don't
before.
know the Nintendo games were Final Fantasy because they don't look like Final Fantasy. They're still the 8-bit characters, but they're the 3 lined up on the side with the
Were they
blue
top
text
down?
box.
Were some of the Final Fantasy games top down kind of view?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they didn't go by really like Final Fantasy, the actual title. They didn't start doing that until they ported them to like PlayStation and stuff like that.
Because
But
I think it was they did Final Fantasy, at least for like the American releases, they did Final Fantasy, and then they didn't come out with Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 2 over here, I believe, was actually Final Fantasy 4. And then Final Fantasy 3 was Final Fantasy 6 or something. It was completely messed up to the point when Final Fantasy 7 came out. They didn't know how they were going to market it in America because they were like, how in the world is it going to go 1, 2, 3, 7?
I have
but
no clue.
Yeah.
let me ask you this, just since we're on this topic of PS1, did you play Chrono Cross and
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger?
Yeah. Yeah. Chrono Cross. I played Chrono Trigger on my phone probably like back in 2019. I had bought it and I was playing. I played it back then too. But, when you're bored, you're like, you see like an old school classic and you're like, I'll spend $5 for that on my phone right quick. Yeah, so Chrono Trigger is a really good game. It's a really
Shout
good
out
game.
to Akira Toriyama from that, man.
Yeah. Look, talking about him doing designs, do you remember this game? PlayStation 1, right? Called Toe Ball Number 1.
Yep.
You remember that game? That is a fever dream of a game trying to
Toe
remember,
ball
man.
number 1
Yes.
Bro, that game hilarious, bro.
was a soccer
Yes.
game.
It's
Nah,
no.
it's a fighting game. It's
Toe ball.
like Street Fighter taking place in Tron. That's like the way I remember it. It's
That
been
sounds
like that,
sick.
and I'm talking about Tron just as far as like the backdrop goes, right?
Yeah.
But it was a 3D game too. That's the even crazier thing. It was a 3D game at the time. It wasn't no 2D, and it was actually like a pretty fun game. But looking back at it, like it took me years to remember the name of the game, and I was like, I'm not even sure if this game exists. It's another one of those. Like I don't even think this exists until I randomly stumbled upon.
The only game that's like that for me is this game I played on Xbox. That this game is wild because it was written. The game was written by at the time kind of a famous sci-fi writer. The guy who I think it's the same guy who might have wrote Ender's Game. I think it's Orson Scott Card. Anyway, it was supposed to be a trilogy. It's supposed to be 3 games. They finished the first one, and then there was this I thought it was a big marketing campaign about winning like $100,000 somehow by finding some items in the game or something like that, right? The game was called Advent Rising. I loved the game,
Sounds
but like
familiar.
no one else played
Yeah.
it.
Nah, that
Really,
game sounds super familiar, man.
the
It was
name sounds
real
familiar.
cool. It was super cool. You were just, it was a sci-fi game. It was a sci-fi third-person shooter, but you did like kind of Matrix style moves. You do like this like bullet jumping and like kind of cartwheel stuff.
Man, that they overran that.
It was so cool though back in the day. I was like,
Yeah,
Man,
see, I never play. I never. My cousins had the Xbox. I never had an Xbox. I was always a Sony
But-
guy.
But
Yeah.
see, it wasn't even just Xbox or PlayStation back then. It just was those style type of games. How, like you mentioned, Byron, they want to do the Matrix. Feel like Dead to Rights at the actual Matrix game. Max
that Matrix
Payne.
game was awesome though.
Which one?
The one where you played as what was her name?
No,
Pip
don't
Pinkett's
say that,
character.
bro. Really,
Dude, that game was vicious and the fighting, slow mo.
man. To be honest with you, bro, I thought that game was horrible.
Awesome.
Not because of the gameplay was fine. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But it was just the corniness of the cinematic. Like,
Look, do
I
y'all
love that
remember the
game.
50 Cent game Bulletproof?
I
that was
remember it.
actually
I
good,
didn't
man.
play it though.
You
Remember,
didn't
yeah.
play it? That's when
Yeah.
I was in my big, like, I was playing that and San Andreas every day. Like, that was what I was doing. I was playing that and San Andreas every day. That was like 2003 type shit.
The one thing that was amazing about San Andreas that I don't think you could do on the PlayStation was you could have custom soundtracks on the Xbox. So I had a bunch of CDs and things that I had loaded music onto. And then there was a station on your car you just go to that was for your stuff you already had on your Xbox.
Mhm.
I was usually rolling around listening to my own stuff.
Really?
It was
I didn't know
awesome.
that.
Yeah,
Super.
but
I'd just be,
but
get on my
that right there.
motorbike.
But see, that the reason why Microsoft was ahead for it, not as PlayStation 2 always gonna outsell the original OG Xbox, but at the same time, that what made Xbox stood out far as being
Yeah.
its own thing.
Get
Because
the
at the end of
market
the day,
share.
people don't understand that Xbox was created from the Microsoft centers. It was something like it was steered towards the media center, right? But then they took it and made it into a gaming console, which was still the media center, but you were just able to play games. So by you now being able to upload your music to your hard drive or certain videos to your hard drive, like, man, I recently bought a Xbox OG, probably like a year ago, right? You wouldn't believe all the stuff I found on that Xbox that the previous owner did not delete.
The hard drive.
Yes, man. So it was like, that was the beauty of something different, like fresh air when it came down to gaming consoles, bro. Xbox always gonna be ahead of its own time with that feature.
Yeah, see, but the one thing, that's when they had to compete against each other.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with Xbox. It stopped trying to compete against itself. It stopped trying to compete against Sony. And Sony, I mean, you can't really compete against Sony. Like, they perfected the console. I don't care what anybody says. They really perfected the console in their graphics, their exclusives. As far as the console go, is you can't. I don't think you can beat Sony when it comes to those two things right there.
Well, I mean, here I'll tell you the answer. This is what happened. So the 360 era, Xbox actually started to catch up. They weren't beating them, but because 360 launched a year earlier, and the PlayStation 3 came out, it was like $100 extra. It was more. So the Xbox started to really catch up a lot, and they got really close. They were just below PlayStation 3, the whole 360 era. It was like right below their numbers, maybe like 10 million less, right? Then that next generation, Don Matrick. You remember that name, Don Matrick? He was the guy who ran Xbox. They blew the next generation with the Xbox One release because the Xbox One release came guaranteed with Kinect. Kinect wasn't optional anymore. Not everybody loved Kinect. So that was a big thing. Then it was a big old school design that people didn't like when people wanted things sleek and new. And then also it had that thing where at that time, it was like, well, yeah, it's going to always be on. Always, you have to have an internet connection. And people were like, no. So that screwed Xbox super hard. Remember, that was also the same convention when they were talking. Xbox wasn't sure about how you could share games. They're like, oh, we're not ready to talk about it. And then PlayStation came out with that commercial, like, here's how you share a game. And the guy just handed his buddy the copy, and he's like, this is how you share a game with PlayStation. So that was a marketing disaster for Xbox. It was a huge Don Matrick. He didn't even last the whole year. He was gone like a year later. And then they brought in Phil Spencer to take over. And from Phil's trying to right the ship ever since. But the Kinect being mandatory was a huge mistake. It was just a whole.
The Kinect was their like sensor type of thing, wasn't it? Like almost like their Wii connection.
But they shouldn't have made it mandatory in every console. The Kinect came out in the 360 era, but it was something you could buy optional later because it came out later. But then this one, it was like it came in the box.
When it first was introduced, far as it came as a bundle, which you had to spend a little extra for, but it was worth it. But around that time, they didn't have that many games for it.
It was just in the wrong time. Like if you came out with the Kinect now and it didn't add anything to the price and it was a little small camera that was just like already embedded into your Xbox or something, it was a separate piece. It was a separate brick that came. You had to find a spot for it on your. You know what I mean? So all of that, just Xbox, they lost the momentum they had built up to try to catch Sony. Just got devastated.
But see, Sony had already built like it already built its name. Like the PlayStation 3. I never had a PlayStation 3, but its design just wasn't even like I wasn't playing games and stuff at that time. I was being a little delinquent at that time, right? So
we all have our times.
But as far as like the PlayStation 2 era, that's where Sony really cemented its name in the console wars, if that's what you want to call it, to the point where I don't think Xbox has even made a game better than Kingdom Hearts. Like that's how much it cemented itself. Like think about it.
I'll leave that one alone.
That's a strong opinion.
Like what game though? Like what games are like were exclusive for it that you could think of up until like let's say not the PlayStation 5 eras and stuff like that because they don't really do exclusives that much anymore.
You mean like the around the 360 era?
Like something that's going to make it like that cements it into it, right? Like that's like it's defining for the console war.
Fable and Halo.
Yeah, Fable. That's actually really Fable and Halo 1. Yeah, Halo 2 also. Halo 2 was huge for the 360 era. Halo 2 sold a ton of consoles.
I could see Halo.
Halo was one of the first midnight releases that GameStop ever did.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But if you're referring to far as OG Xbox and PlayStation 2, I would say Fable, only because yet again, Fable was something different, and it was Xbox only exclusive for one, right? But at the same time, it was something different at that time. And then you had your Halo Evolve Combat, and not to mention other games but I can't think of the names right now. But
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Maybe because I'm not a big Xbox person, but I really, just from me, I don't hear too many people talking about Fable. Halo, I'll give you Halo because I remember LAN parties all the time with Halo. Like
Yeah.
people just like even with my cousins and stuff, it would be 3 rooms taken up and everybody in there playing Halo, right? So I'll give you Halo. Fable, I never played it. I've heard it was good, but I just don't hear it. I don't hear the chatter of it. Like, you remember that game Fable? Like, I just don't hear those type of conversations. I'm not saying it didn't cement the name of it, but definitely Halo. I'll give you Halo. Halo was definitely that game.
now, if we talking about not as far as console wars, right, but just the difference in these consoles as far as the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. Yes, I am going to agree 100% with you that PlayStation 2 was dominating any and every console around that time, only because of the amount of games they were producing, and then
Oh, yeah.
the hardware, especially when they introduced the network connection where you was able to go online and play multiplayer, on your game on your PlayStation 2. And if you had the fatback PlayStation 2, you was able to put a hard drive in the back of it and save all your games.
Or the adapt play Japanese games.
So, you wasn't really doing that on Xbox like that, but it's just the simple fact that, yeah, Xbox had its run when it came down to having fun, friendly games and stuff like that, but PlayStation always gonna dominate when it
The
come to that
PSP,
era.
the PSP helped PlayStation 2 a
Yeah.
lot as
Mhm.
well. I know it sounds crazy, but
Well, PSP was big.
yeah,
Very big.
The PSP though, I don't know why they messed up with the Vita, but they should have just kept on doing what they were doing with the PSP. I think the UMD disc, isn't that what it was called? The UMD?
I think
That
so.
was it was right at the cusp of it being old technology, if that makes sense. Like it was too much for somebody to keep on swapping in and out. Now if they would have kept on going and evolved it into almost like what the Switch is, the PSP would be a very good system to have now. Now they have like the portable that you can only play in your house or something like that. Like it's
Just
just
a
weird.
Wi-Fi accessory.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why they would do that instead of coming out with an actual portable.
It's probably some money tech side because then you don't have to have a Bluetooth and all that other stuff. It's just Wi-Fi ready. You don't have to have any kind of other internet receivers and things in there. It just saves a little bit of money on the production side, mass production.
Yeah. It's probably because so much of it's digital too. It's not like swapping out games and stuff like it is. But I mean, shoot, they got the Steam Deck. You can
Yeah.
upload games to that and play that on the road. So I don't know why the hell I don't know. It's
Well,
sad to
man,
Yeah,
see.
it's wild.
but man, I tell you, man, we appreciate everything, man. You coming on the episode today, talking with us and our viewers, bro, and let everybody know what things you're working on right now, where everybody can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me Craftsman_Tim on Threads and Instagram. No underscore, so just Craftsman Tim on YouTube. I have a bunch of stuff in the works from reactions, discussions. I'm planning on starting a podcast, Crafters Lounge. That's coming up soon. I'll be also putting some more stuff out there. I'm working on a book, so I'll be putting some more stuff out there as I start getting a little bit more settled with stuff, get a little bit more comfortable with presenting it. And then every Wednesday, you can catch me on Destiny Brushes live on Instagram at 5.
Okay. And what about you, Byron? Anything you got going on right now you want everybody to know about?
Nothing major right now. Check me out every Sunday right here at Retro Pioneers Podcast on Twitch and YouTube and Riverside. Gosh, nothing in particular. I do want to start streaming this year more. So my streaming is Warstar 20. So hopefully I can start streaming more and be a little more productive on that end. But everything else, no, not too much.
Okay. And we just want to let everybody know, man, thank y'all for tuning in tonight episode of Retro Pioneers, episode 12 with Craftsman's Tim, man. Tonight was an awesome episode, and we appreciate everything y'all do for us, man, and catch y'all next time.
Peace.